Obviously, don't carry around these things in public. Please, disclaimer. This is the most floral lectern I've ever sat behind. Lovely. Easter celebration of new life, flowers. Spring is on the way. Oh, here. Is it? Or is next week going to be freezing cold? And is Bank Holiday Monday going to be raining? Or am I just being a bit of a... Am I? Okay. Hey, I try and be a realist. But anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Kids, just don't come up here and run towards this. I'm going to put it that way. Actually, there we go. We'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, Easter. So, children, anyone under the age of 11? Who's under 11? Simon, you are not. I know you're 60 now. Don't tell anyone. Woo. You set yourself up for that one, mate. Anyway, under 18. Let's go for children. Anyway, what do you love, or what comes to mind when you think about Easter? Go on, shout some things out. What do you think about? Huh? It's good. It's good. I mean, that's fair. It's good. Any other? Come, what do you think about? Huh? Eggs? Eggs, absolutely. What, just the ones that come out of a chicken's bottom? Or no? Chocolate eggs. Okay, that's an important distinction, isn't it? What child would be happy if their parents gave them a chicken's egg on Easter morning? What have you got? Sorry? Bunnies. Easter bunnies, they're good as well. Adults, you join in now. Come on, what do you love about Easter? What do you think about when you think about Easter? We're on to lambs now. We're on to the farmyard. Lambs. Eating lamb, sorry. That's maybe, anyway. We'll delete that bit. Although I love it. Sorry. Anyone else? Come on. Salmon? Family. So this is salmon. And I genuinely thought that Dan said that Kit is staying in the meeting. And if you know, Mike and Kit are part of the church here. So I genuinely thought that's what you were saying. But it's kids. You're going to be in the meeting. Anyway, we love Easter. Now, it's interesting. Nobody said walking. Oh, some groans. What children love a nice, long, Sunday afternoon walk with their parents, dragging them around places that they're saying, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Isn't it lovely out here? And the kids are just like, can we just go home, please? Anyone relate to that? Yeah? Yeah. I mean, I love walking. I love it. I love my family. Didn't always enjoy every walk we went on. I won't say any more about that. But one of our things in our family, actually, and if my mother-in-law watches this, she'll see this. I've mentioned her, and I didn't ask her permission. But we used to have walks with her we called them Nanny Devon walks, because she lives in Devon. She's a nanny, so you can see the connection of those things. And we called them Nanny Devon walks, and maybe children, if you've got a nanny who does long walks, because she would say things like, yeah, it's about a mile, roughly. And then you'd go on this walk in good faith. And then, honestly, 2, 3, 4 miles later, you're kind of like, oh, what? And as an adult, well, we were with our children at the time, so we had to sort of, obviously, they were brilliant all the time. But you know what it's like. But anyway, no one mentioned walking. Now, I've got a little prize, which I'm not going to give you yet, children. If you can guess, and this is going to be the closest one to it, and I might let some adults join in. The closest one to it, okay, so anyone under the age of 18, what do you think the longest walk in the world on land without getting on a boat? I'm assuming there's bridges in this walk. We'll put it up. Put it on a big screen, because I'm going to help you. Right, put that on large if you can. That would be great. Okay, there we go. So this, apparently, according to Google Maps, is the longest walk in the world, all the way from Cape Town. Any South Africans here? Anyone from Cape Town? Yeah, a few. There we go. All the way to Magadan in Russia. Okay? Huh? Turn right. Yes, it's turn right. Turn right. Don't miss that turn, whatever you do. Otherwise, you'll be absolutely flummoxed. That's got to be the most important one. So I want you to guess how far you think that is. How many miles? No? Don't ask Nanny Devon to go on that walk. Absolutely right. How far do you think that walk is? Can we have a guess? How long? 60 miles. It's a bit more, all right? It is a little bit more, but what we're going to go for is those that are closest to it. So you may be in the running. 60 miles. We've got one over here. 7,000 miles. 5,000. Now, can you remember what you say, please? Because I will forget. Parents, remember what... How many? 60,000. We've gone from 60,000 is what you were saying. That's a lot of miles. I'm getting confused. Just remember what you've said, and I'm going to judge your honesty, okay? I'm going to take it as honest, because I'm going to give the prizes to the top two. So, Tom, you said 14,000, I think, didn't you? You might be in the running. Right, okay, just remember what you said. This is how many miles it is. I think he's Googled this before. 13,550 miles. Shall we give Tom a round of applause for getting... You're not getting your prize yet. And those that got closest to that, I've got a little couple for two prizes, all right? So remind me of that in a minute, but I will talk about it. So that's the longest walk in the world. I thought I'd also then Google the most beautiful walk in the world, just in case you want to go on it. Can we have a big slide again? Put these up. Look at that. Who's been there? This is in the Rockies, I think. Yeah, it's Canada, yeah. Oh, I mean, it's stunning, isn't it? Oh. Just look at that. Imagine yourself there at this moment, standing on that rock. Wouldn't that be a nice way to spend your Sunday afternoon? And then the next one is the most dangerous walk in the world. Children, who would want to go on that walk? Yeah, some hands in the air. Hands straight in the air. It's like, yes, please. Parents of those children, we expect some holiday photos. This is in China. This is in China. I can't remember the name of it now. But that's 2 kilometers up. Yeah? I mean, why? Anyway, move on. Just fix the other slide now. Walking. We're going to join two friends briefly this morning who are taking a walk on the first Easter morning. And it's in the stories in Luke, this story about Jesus that Luke wrote, giving an account of everything Jesus did, who he was, and so on and so forth. It's not the most dangerous walk. In some ways, it's not the most exciting walk. It's not a Nanny Devon walk. It's not that long a walk. And it's not the most scenic or beautiful necessarily, but this walk they took, this journey they took, certainly turned out to be the most significant walk of their lives. No question. That's what this walk was. And sometimes the most significant journeys of our lives are not those that are the most beautiful or spectacular necessarily, but sometimes the journeys that we actually take within ourselves and who we are and in our lives can be the most significant thing. And these two men had been living in Jerusalem, and if you know anything about Jerusalem at that time, I mean, it's a hotbed of all sorts of things, but it certainly was back then, of oppressive rule, Roman rule. You had, it'd be the equivalent of, I don't know, I'll pick an army that I don't want to offend anyone. Imagine an army taking over Norwich and you living under the rule of that foreign army coming in and how you would feel in that setting. And in Norwich at that time, no doubt there'd be a mixture of people, some who are saying, no, let's be kind to these people, let's welcome them in, let's work for them, let's make some money through them. Other people would be like, no, let's fight back, let's have a resistance against these oppressors. Wouldn't we? You get all of that going on in Norwich. And imagine that, and then imagine a guy comes on the scene who's been working in his wood shop with wood, building stuff, a builder, basically. So imagine, I'm trying to think of the name of a builder in Norwich now, drives up in his white van, gets out and starts teaching people. That's kind of what it was like. And he starts doing things, he starts praying for people and they get healed. He starts claiming outrageous things. And people start to follow this builder. They start to say, we think this guy is more than a man. They start to ask questions about him. Some people absolutely hate him. Some people are absolutely loving on him. This is what happened. This Jesus came on the scene. Now, I get it that at this point, some people will be going, yeah, but hang on, he didn't really exist, did he? It's just a myth, it's kind of legend, it's made up and all of that sort of stuff. And just, I think, it's been demonstrated numbers of times that he really did live. And so I thought, I'll say it again, but using the words of Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman's written a book called Did Jesus Exist? If you've never heard of Bart Ehrman, globally he's one of the most well-known New Testament scholars, but he's an atheist. Well, he calls himself an atheist agnostic. So he does not believe God exists, but is agnostic about how we come to know things, even if that makes sense. But anyway, the whole, but he's very articulate. He's a professor, he's a scholar, and so on and so forth. And in this book, Did Jesus Exist? He says these words: we know that Jesus did exist. Let that sink in if you kind of think the myth thing. We know that Jesus did exist, as virtually every scholar of antiquity, of biblical studies, of classics, and of Christian origins in this country, talking about the US, and in fact in the Western world agrees, there was a historical Jesus. A Jewish teacher, this builder who became a teacher of first century Palestine, who was crucified by the Roman prefect Pontius Pilate. Okay? So he's saying this really did happen. Jesus really did exist. He really was crucified under this oppressive Roman rule. That's not myth. It's not making it up. This is a scholar, a historian, who has no axe to grind on this whatsoever, who is saying this is the conclusion through significant study has come to that conclusion. Obviously, he doesn't believe in the resurrection. He doesn't believe necessarily we can trust all the Bible. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that the conclusion he's come to is that he really lived. This man who did wonderful things, the one who said outrageous things. In one sense, one of the most outrageous things you could probably say, imagine that builder getting out of his van and starts teaching us, and we're all listening to him in Norwich while these people are oppressing us with their guns and their violence, and they're killing people. And Jesus turns around, or this builder turns around and says, hey, you lot, love your enemies. It's outrageous. What? Love your enemies? Love those people who are doing this to us? But that's what Jesus said. But 3 years after all of this, it came to a screeching halt when he was crucified as a common criminal. It was like, okay, it's now stopped. It's a dead end. Everything he's taught, these people no doubt are bemused, they're confused, and so we meet two of them on this road to Emmaus in Luke's Gospel. And I'm going to read from that a bit. Luke 24. Verse 13 says, two of them were going that very day, okay, this is on the first Easter morning, to a village named Emmaus, which was about 7 miles from Jerusalem. And they were talking with each other about all these things which had taken place. And while they were talking and discussing, Jesus appeared and began traveling with them. But their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. And he said to them, what are these words? What are you saying, lads? What are you talking about? I'm interested in your conversation as you're walking along. And then it says, and they stood still. Imagine the scene. They're walking along. They're chatting about all this stuff that's gone on in Jerusalem, who Jesus is, everything that's happened. This man who they don't recognize comes alongside them, says, what's going on? And it says, it's one of those moments in a conversation. You know when you go for a walk sometimes and you're chatting? But there are moments sometimes when it's so important that you just got to stop where you are and turn to the person and talk. And this was one of those moments for these two guys. They were walking along with this guy, and they're like, whoa, hang on a minute. They were sad. They were unhappy, and they're wondering why this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, you'd feel sad, wouldn't you, children? Let me ask you a question. I've got something here. I'm going to get it out. Oh, it's heavy. So heavy. Oh. I think this is the heaviest Easter egg that exists. Maybe. All right? Don't get disappointed and cry. I've done that before. Imagine someone coming with an Easter egg that they're saying is the biggest, the heaviest, the most chocolatey, the most wonderful Easter egg that you will ever experience in your entire lives. You're going to feel like fantastic. Jesus is kind of saying that in a way in terms of what he came to do. He's saying, this is the best thing ever. But imagine this, that this egg turns out to be maybe, in your mind, not quite what you thought it was. So this is where this comes in. Any child, with their parents' permission, I could have my granddaughter. No, do you want to come? Come on. Right, go on. Hold that. Right, what I want you to do is, this is dangerous, by the way, don't do this at home, is give that a good stab, but miss my hands, please. Well, that was, go on, one more. That's it, that's enough. I'm going to lose a hand otherwise. It was meant to burst, it wasn't blowing up enough. But you get the point. I think that's how they felt after the crucifixion. I think they felt deflated, they felt like all hope had gone, they felt they'd lost everything, that everything was wonderfully promised, is now gone, it's finished, and it is done. And so I imagine that's why they're sad, why they're walking away from Jerusalem with their heads down, because Jesus promised so much. And he says to them, well, I don't know what's happened. And they're saying, are you the only one in all of Jerusalem who doesn't know what's gone on? Are you the only one? And as we know, I'm sure you maybe know, the irony of that, he's the only one who knows what's really happened. And that's the point. But Jesus doesn't sort of dive on them and say, you idiots. He walks with them, he listens to them, and he listens to them tell the story about where their hopes were set in this Jesus. Why? Because Jesus didn't come in a vacuum. They thought he was the fulfillment of this entire Old Testament story. The Bible's made up of the Old Testament, the New Testament, and 2/3 of it is this old story. And there's promises there that what went wrong with the world is going to be put right, and someone is going to come and do that. And there are these shadows in the Old Testament that speak to a substance in the New, and they all point to Jesus. But they didn't realize this, because they thought, well, we thought the promises were wrapped up in him. But then he gets killed, he gets beaten, he gets crucified, and that didn't seem like that was the plan. We were maybe expecting someone a bit more like Moses to lead us, or maybe a David, this king in the Old Testament, to come and lead them out and to deliver them and, sort the oppressors out. And Jesus, this builder in his white van, of course he didn't have a white van, kind of didn't really fit with their expectations. It's interesting with the Bible that there is this huge interest suddenly in it. And, maybe you know that I think it's in a Guardian article that said Bible sales have been up in the past, in 2019, I think it was, the Bible sales were up 134%. That's more than ever in the past 30 years. People are asking questions about this book. They're buying it, and they want explanations of it. They want to know, well, what does it really mean? Maybe you're here this morning and you're like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm kind of interested in this Bible thing. And it can seem really strange because there's these weird stories in places, aren't there? It's okay to ask questions, and I love that about this story, that within the Bible itself, Jesus listens to them, he walks with them. They had some facts, Jesus existed, but they lacked some gaps about who he was and maybe what he had done and the significance of that. And then Jesus listens to them, but eventually he just says to them, well, look, lads, he says this. Where are we? What have I done? I've turned the page. Here we go. Jesus says to them, after listening to them, because they thought, some people had fed back that he was alive, the tomb had been empty, but they don't believe, okay? They think it's nonsense. Fair play. They think it's nonsense. And Jesus says to them in verse 25, foolish men, and slow of heart to believe in all the prophets have spoken. Was it not necessary for the Christ to suffer these things and to enter into his glory? There is something about this Bible study that Jesus takes them through the Old Testament from the law, from Moses and all that happened there, the Exodus, this story, they came out of, again, being under oppression, but there was a lamb that was slaughtered. And it's a bit like this. I love this when I came across this. It's like, imagine a river flowing down the middle here, okay? Imagine the Old Testament is a bit like that. This old story is a bit like that. But as you read through it, it's like the height of the river can't be contained only within that thing. It spills over. It points to something greater. That's what the Old Testament's like. It spills over, and you start to see it. You think, well, how can this be fulfilled? How can that be fulfilled? That doesn't seem to make sense. That doesn't seem to be finished until Jesus came. And in him, it says, all these psalms and prophets and law and so on were fulfilled in his life. Huge claim. But that's what they were experiencing as he unpacked the Bible to them. And then it says they sat down, they reclined at the table because, they were going to walk further. They thought Jesus was going to go on. But they urged him, saying, "Stay with us, for it's getting towards evening. The day is now nearly over." So he went to stay with them. And when he reclined at the table with them, he took the bread and he blessed it, breaking it and giving it to them. And then their eyes were opened and they recognized him. And then he vanished from their sight, and they said to one another, "Were our hearts not burning within us while he was speaking to us and explaining these things to us?" I love that. Maybe you need someone, maybe you want someone to sit down with you and just explain it to you a bit. I'm trying to do my best in a very short amount of time, but maybe a conversation over a coffee. Or maybe ask a friend to go through, there's a little book called Uncover, which is a really good thing of going through the Gospel of Luke or a different gospel. I really encourage you that if you can relate to these men on the road, that you're thinking, I've got questions, I'm not sure about this stuff, well, be encouraged that in the very story that talks about Jesus, it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to be on that journey. It's okay to ask those questions. It's okay to be honest to God. That's what they were doing. They were being honest to God, even though they didn't know it. Yeah? So I'd really encourage you to do that. And they exclaim, "The Lord has really risen." What was nonsense became possible. What was possible became probable. What was probable became actual. And what was actual became life-changing. Hear that again. What was nonsense, because they say, this is nonsense, became, maybe it's possible. What was possible became, probably, maybe this is the best explanation of what happened. And what was probable for them became actual, and what was actual became life-changing. So what do? Well, they walk in one direction, and they turn in the other. They go back to Jerusalem to tell their friends this news, this wonderful news. I didn't give out the prizes, did I? I'll do it now. I'll come back to the wonderful news in a second. Who got the closest? We know Tom got the closest. There you go. We know down here. There you go. That's for bursting the balloon. Who was the next closest? Put your hands down. There you go. We're going there. Sorry if you put hands up over there or anything. I don't want to disappoint anyone. They're the blow-up eggs, by the way. So you can play with them at home in the garden. Don't blow it up now, Josie, and it's Tom's, not yours. Back to the good news. There's another guy called J.R.R. Tolkien that many know, who wrote Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, among Silmarillion, isn't it? Anyway, he was a writer, and he ended up becoming a Christian, and he put these words down. I love these words, because he liked writing about walks. I mean, these hobbits, they went on a long walk, and their lives were changed. But he wrote this. We can put it on the big screen. That'd be great. He says, "I coined a phrase," and that's a big word, eucatastrophe. We know what a catastrophe is, don't we? Yeah? When it all goes wrong. And you kind of here symbolizes good. It's a good catastrophe. It's something that is kind of life-changing, life-shatteringly good. He said it's a sudden, happy turn in a story which pierces you with joy that brings tears. Your whole nature chained into material cause and effect. In other words, something's happened that's bang, it's caused. This walk on the road for them was like that. Jesus turned up, came alongside them. Suddenly they changed direction in their life. That's what the gospel is, this good news that we can be forgiven. Another writer talks about the cross, a guy called Tolstoy, and he says to forgive is to swallow evil and prevent it from going further. I like that. I think it's true. To forgive, to really forgive, is to swallow up evil and prevent it from going further. Jesus on the cross swallowed our sin, he swallowed our death, and he prevents it and the evil in our own lives to prevent it going further. And to reconcile us with God. We've seen that word used this morning. And reconciliation isn't, oh, I'm over here and I believe in God and I hope we're going to be okay. Let's have our peace. Reconciliation is this. That's what it really is. It's coming to God and saying, actually, I want you. And all that might mean for my life, I want you. And he wants you more than you want him. And it's the cross that enables us to embrace, as it were, and to know him. And I want to encourage you this Easter to maybe embrace that. This wasn't the longest walk in the world. It wasn't the most beautiful walk in the world. It wasn't the most dangerous walk in the world. But it was absolutely, for these two guys, the most significant walk they ever took in their lives. Which then raises the question, doesn't it? Which I'm going to leave you on this. What about you? What are you going to do with that? Does the band want to come back up? Shall we stand if you're able to? They're going to lead us in another song. I'm just going to pray. There's, of course, loads I could say, but I really don't want to. I want you to think about that question. What about you? What about you? Where are you on that road? Where are you on that journey? What might it look like for you to turn around and walk the other way? And maybe declare even for the first time, Christ is risen. Lord, I thank you so much that you meet us where we are. That you don't try and shout at us and drag us to where you are, but you lovingly come to us, graciously come alongside us, patiently you listen to us, and then wonderfully you rescue us and forgive us. I mean, what a Saviour. And thank you so much that the Old Testament's not the end of a story, the cross is not a dead end, but the beginning of, well, the continuation of this amazing story. But can be a new beginning of a story for each one of us when we put our faith in you, when we say, I see, like those guys did. I think I see this, and I want to follow him. So pray, help us. Help those who just this morning feel they need to change direction, start following Jesus, declare he's risen by faith, trusting in all that he's done on the cross. We're grateful. Amen.